U.S. President Donald Trump signed a new executive order banning citizens of 12 countries from entering his country and restricting the entry of people from 7 other nations. A magnitude 5.0 earthquake measuring 5 on the Richter scale hit the Chinese province of Yunnan, affecting almost 6,000 people and damaging more than 170 homes. And the Israeli occupation army killed 4 journalists in an attack on the Al Ali Baptist Hospital in Gaza City. Hello and welcome to From the South. My name is Belén de los Santos. I'm from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. We now begin with the information. U.S. President Donald Trump signed a new executive order banning citizens of 12 countries from entering the United States and also partially restricting the entry of people from other 7 nations, including Cuba and Venezuela. The decree published by the White House indicates that they have totally restricted and limited the entry of nationals from Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. The measure adds to President Trump's administration's crackdown on immigrants, which has been in effect since his inauguration on January 20th. President Trump also partially restricted the entry of citizens from Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela.
Today, I am signing a new executive order placing travel restrictions on countries including Yemen, Somalia, Haiti, Libya, and numerous others. The strength of the restrictions we're applying depends on the severity of the threat posed. The list is subject to revision based on whether material improvements are made, and likewise, new countries can be added as threats emerge.
In this context, citizens in New York reacted to President Trump's order, which he compared with the ban that was imposed on a number of mainly Muslim countries during his first term in office.
I think it's terrible. I think it's terrible because it fails to understand that people are important and that they're equal.
It's disheartening what's happening, and that the Senate and the Congress are allowing this to happen is absolutely abhorrent.
Meanwhile, the government of China has condemned the latest tariff hikes on steel and aluminum products imposed by the United States, warning of their negative impact on global supply chains.
The United States has once again raised tariffs on steel, aluminum, and their derivative products. This move is not only detrimental to itself and others, does nothing to safeguard industrial security, but also disrupts the stability of global supply chains. The U.S. approach has been opposed by multiple countries. China urges the U.S. to respect economic laws, abandon zero-sum thinking, stop generalizing and abusing the concept of national security, and work together with other countries to safeguard a rules-based, multilateral trading system.
And in other news, a joint discovery by Chinese and German scientists may offer a significant clue on the question of whether life exists beyond Earth. Based on the transmit timing variation (TTV) technique, for the first time, the super-Earth Kepler 725c, with 10 times the mass of the Earth, has been detected within the habitable zone of the Sun-like stars Kepler 725, which is a promising candidate for potential habitability. The breakthrough was published in the journal Nature Astronomy on Tuesday, and the discovery, based on the TTV technique, offers a new approach to detecting exo-Earths, making the technique a powerful tool for discovering invisible planets in the habitable zones of Sun-like stars. A magnitude 5 earthquake on the Richter scale hit the Chinese province of Yunnan, affecting almost 6,000 people and damaging more than 170 homes. According to the China Seismological Network Center, the earthquake was recorded at 4:31 local time on Thursday. The epicenter was located 318 kilometers from the city of Kunming, the provincial capital, at a depth of 10 kilometers. Authorities reported that 5,988 people were affected and almost 4,000 were evacuated as a precaution. In Yunnan County, the area worst affected by the earthquake, activated an emergency protocol to assist the victims and set up 3 temporary housing centers. And in Canada, more than 26,000 people have been evacuated due to hundreds of wildfires with dense columns of smoke that have affected millions of not only Canadians, but also the rest of North America. As a result, warnings were issued in some zones of the Canadian territory and in neighboring states of the United States due to the dangerous air quality. An air tanker base in the Canadian province of Saskatchewan was consumed by the fire. Oil production had to be interrupted in nearby Alberta as well. Climate change has increased the impact of extreme weather events in Canada, which is still recovering from the summer of 2023, when over 37 million acres of forests were burned. And we go now to Pakistan, as temperatures in Jacobabad can reach 50 degrees Celsius at this time of the year, as it is one of the hottest cities in the country. The city in Pakistan's Sindh province regularly suffers under temperatures of more than 45 degrees Celsius, sometimes over 50 degrees. The situation is made worse by a lack of proper infrastructure, water supply problems, and regular power outages make keeping cool a challenge. Buying ice might seem like a good solution, but vendors struggle to keep up with demand. Health and environment experts say people need to find ways to protect themselves from the weather or face terrible health consequences.
It is impossible to live in Jacobabad, where temperature rises to 50 degrees. Power outages are frequent in the summer season. Most of the people living in Jacobabad are poor like me, and it is difficult to live in Jacobabad in summer because there are power shutdown issues in Jacobabad, which increase 3 to 6 hours in the summer season.
जैकोबाबाद की सिचुएशन डे बाय डे जो है ना सीरियस होती जा रही है.
The Jacobabad weather situation is getting worse due to heat waves and temperature increases day by day. To control or mitigate the weather situation, one natural solution is vegetation or plantation, while the other is engineering, or what we call man-made. That is improvising the infrastructure, making greener houses, and raising awareness in people that heat waves are also dangerous and it is a serious issue. Hair stroke can be deadly.
Now we have a short break coming up, but first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. We go now to Venezuela, as the country maintains full production in all its oil wells, while strategic sectors record sustained growth in the first quarter of 2025. The information was provided by Venezuela's Vice President Delcy Rodriguez during the opening of World Retailers Congress held in Caracas. Rodriguez denied versions that there was a decrease in the oil extraction in the South American country and pointed out that Venezuela registered an 18.7% increase in the oil exports, which is the highest in the region. The vice president also highlighted the role played by the workers of the oil industry in the country to keep up the wells active and stressed that the increase in oil exports is higher than that of Argentina, Peru, Uruguay, Ecuador, and Chile, countries that do not face external economic pressures. We stay in Venezuela as a new group of 150 nationals arrived in the country on a flight from Honduras as part of the Return to the Homeland plan. This new group of men and women landed at the Simón Bolívar International Airport through the Return to the Homeland plan. After the arrival of flight number 27 of this plan, a multidisciplinary team offered comprehensive medical and social attention to the nationals after their return. The actions of the government have allowed the return of more than 5,000 men and women affected by the xenophobic policies of the U.S. government, which has carried out arbitrary detentions against the migrant population since the arrival of Donald Trump to the presidency. In Ecuador, after the National Assembly passed a partial amendment to the Article 5 of the Constitution to eliminate the express prohibition of the establishment of foreign military bases in national territory, there have been several reactions. Gabriela Mena tells us more in the following report.
After Rafael Correa became president of Ecuador, the prohibition of foreign military bases was enacted for reasons such as the increased indexes of violence and the record of multiple claims of right violations. This particular base operated from the 2000 to 2009.
Antes de que ellos llegaran, el nivel de muertes violentas que había en el Ecuador era 1,600.
Before they arrived, the level of violent deaths that existed in Ecuador was 1,600. After that, it increased to 2,625. And then without them, they managed to lower crime impressively from 2,625 to 934. Ecuador was the second safest country in Latin America in 2017 when President Correa left the government.
The foreign bases constituted an infringement of Ecuadorian sovereignty due to the fact that the base's headquarters were not regulated by Ecuadorian law, but by those of their own country. Furthermore, it was not possible to control what occurred inside the bases, and different crimes began to be reported, adding that they had their own agenda of operations that the Ecuadorian state did not know about.
Cuando estaban los americanos acá hubo hundimiento de barcos.
When they were here, there were sinking of boats, complaints from fishermen who said they have been victims of abuses by U.S. forces. So there were always this type of scenarios.
Hubo incluso abusos a menores.
There were even abuses of minors. There were also situations of abuse in bars. And since they had diplomatic status, in this case, the U.S. Marines had immunity. They could not do anything to them, nor could they be denounced. When some controversy happened in Ecuador, they could leave the country and go away. Experts are concerned about the Assembly's decision, claiming that there is no evidence that the country's crime wave will be curbed by allowing the entry of foreign military forces.
Because what we are doing is handing over a part of our territory so that they can install themselves. They are selling an imaginary world where people think that since they are going to bring a military base, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 soldiers are going to come and they are going to fight with the armed groups. That is not so. That is not going to happen.
In addition, the experts consulted warned that foreign military presence not only affects national sovereignty but also impacts the entire region. I believe that the Assembly and the President have rushed to set a geopolitical agenda that includes us in an issue that we do not want, which is an international war. But doing this, as has been done now, without taking into account the precedent we had with the Colombia plan, is a mistake. Ecuador remains expectant of the decision to be taken in the referendum, for which it is estimated that the Ecuadorian National Electoral Council will convene the polls within a maximum period of up to 45 days.
Gabriela Mena, teleSUR Ecuador.
Thousands of truck drivers marched in La Paz in Bolivia on Wednesday in a protest against the fuel shortage in the country and demanded the government find solutions to the increase in the price of basic goods. Since 2023, Bolivia has been going through an economic crisis derived from the lack of U.S. currency. The situation has pushed the government to almost exhaust its liquid international reserves, which it uses to import fuels to sell them in the domestic market at subsidized prices. Hundreds of riot police cut off the entrance to the Plaza de Armas, where the government palace and the Congress are located. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverages, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notifications to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back from the south. The Israeli occupation army killed 4 journalists in an attack on the Al Baptist Hospital in Gaza City on Thursday. Wafa news agencies reported the Israeli drones bombed the courtyard of the health facility, killing 4 of the journalists and leaving a 5th one critically wounded. The press members were on assignment near the hospital entrance, an area known to be frequented by media personnel. In this context, the director of the medical center reported that several people were injured in the attack, stressing this is the 8th time Israel has targeted the facility. And Israeli security forces have decided to prevent the Freedom Flotilla boat Madeleine from approaching Gaza and are considering a military operation to capture and detain it. The ship sailing from Italy to Gaza carrying 12 pro-Palestinian activists, including climate activist Greta Thunberg and actor Liam Cunningham, is due to arrive on shore within 4 to 5 days and is currently near Greece. Israel initially considered allowing the ship to dock because it does not pose a security threat, but finally decided to prevent it from doing so to avoid setting a precedent or breaking the blockade imposed on Gaza. On the second day of the Hajj pilgrimage, thousands of Muslim faithful flocked to Mount Arafat in Saudi Arabia to pray, seek forgiveness, and reflect on their faith. Despite heat waves warnings, hundreds of thousands of Muslim pilgrims from around the world began the rituals of the Hajj on Wednesday. The annual pilgrimage takes them to the Saudi cities of Mecca and Medina, where Islam was born 14th centuries ago. Before dawn, pilgrims began arriving at the historic hill where the Prophet Muhammad delivered his farewell sermon over 1,400 years ago during his final pilgrimage. Many of the faithful chose to fast on this day, as it is believed that doing so atones for the sins of the previous and coming years. And in Vietnam, the Da Nang International Fireworks Festival is underway, an event marking the 50th anniversary of the liberation of this coastal city. The festival, which will run until July 12th, incorporates modern technologies to offer a unique experience with sound and light effects. During the celebration, pyrotechnical competitions will be held along with parallel events and tourist experiences. The presentations will be enjoyed in the east bank of the Han River, with the main grandstands on the west bank, providing visitors with an ideal setting to admire the fireworks. Meanwhile, in the United States, Tribeca 2025 Festival has begun with a wide range of films, music, and immersive technology. This film festival, which takes place from June 4th to the 15th in New York City, will feature the screening of the film And So It Goes, about singer Billy Joel, and Yunnan, produced by Leonardo DiCaprio, which narrates the struggle of indigenous chief Yuma Sipaya to defend her land. In addition, documentaries on such figures as Barbara Walters, Andy Kaufman, and Billy Idol will be screened, as well as the tragedy of the Ocean Gate submersible and a visual album by the hardcore band Turnstile will be presented, followed by a talk with its members. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, my name is Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.